Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Intimacy Lab. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever been left by someone, but still felt her energy circling around you like smoke? She broke up with you. She said it's over. Maybe she even blocked you, unfollowed you, deleted your photos, and yet you feel her eyes on you through a friend's screen. You see her watching your stories, you hear her name pop up in your group chat. She's not in your life anymore, but somehow she won't let go of your presence. It's a strange dance, isn't it? One moment you're trying to heal, trying to move on, trying to breathe without the ghost of her laughter, and the next, there's a message. A like, a comment, a reminder that she still wants your attention, just not your love. What do you do when someone walks out but refuses to step away from the spotlight of your life? When she left, but not really. This video is for the men caught in that space between presence and absence. Between the heartbreak of goodbye and the confusion of why is she still watching me, let's unravel it together. Because attention is not affection, and what she's doing might not be about love at all. It might be about power, fear, regret, or something much deeper. There's something uniquely disorienting about being left and still being looked at. It's like watching someone exit your home and slam the door, only to notice they're peeking through the blinds 5 minutes later. You're trying to put your life back together, piece by piece, quietly, but every time you take a step forward you feel a tug, subtle, confusing, invisible. She left you, she ended the relationship, and yet she's not gone, and here's what no one tells you. Closure doesn't always come when someone leaves. Because leaving isn't always final, not emotionally, not psychologically. Sometimes people exit relationships the way they walk through revolving doors, fast, impulsive, convinced they're ready to move on, but not quite sure if they want the door to stop spinning. And when that happens, you're left in a place that is hard to explain to your friends, because on paper it's over. She broke it off, she walked away, but in the shadows she lingers, watching your life without participating in it, clicking like on a post she swore she'd never look at again, bringing up your name to mutual friends, sending a just checking in text at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night. It's not enough to come back, but it's just enough to keep your heart from fully leaving. This isn't just about mixed signals. This is emotional possession, the quiet, unspoken expectation that she still gets to occupy space in your world, even if she no longer offers her love. And what makes this even more complicated is that part of you, the wounded part, the hopeful part, is tempted to respond. Not because you don't know better, but because you remember how it felt to matter to her. That memory, that echo, becomes your prison. You start second, guessing everything. Why is she still watching my stories? Why did she comment on that picture? Does she miss me? Should I respond? And just like that, she doesn't even need to say much. Your mind does the heavy lifting. Your emotions fill in the blanks. Your heart becomes a puppet to the hope that maybe, just maybe, she regrets letting you go. But attention isn't love. And being watched is not the same as being wanted. Many people, especially women who left relationships for emotionally complicated reasons, struggle with the aftermath of their own choices. Regret, loneliness, guilt, fear of being forgotten, the image they had of you in their mind, it doesn't die easily. So they test the connection, they knock without fully entering, they reach out just enough to soothe their own discomfort, but not enough to hold your hand. This behavior isn't always malicious. Sometimes it's deeply human. She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to feel close to something that once gave her safety, even though she's no longer willing to protect it. But here's the thing, just because she's still looking doesn't mean she's coming back, and just because you see her face again doesn't mean you're seeing the same woman you loved. If she truly wanted to come back, It wouldn't look like this. It wouldn't be breadcrumbs. It wouldn't be silence interrupted by shallow engagement. It would be a conversation, a confession, a clear expression of desire and responsibility. She would walk through the front door, not try to climb through the window when you're asleep. So the real question becomes, why does she still want your attention? Maybe it's validation. Knowing that she still has access to your emotions makes her feel powerful. Maybe it's comfort, you were her home even if she doesn't want to live there anymore, or maybe she doesn't even know why she's doing it. Maybe she's just as confused as you are, but she doesn't want to lose the feeling of being remembered. And now you're here in this limbo, this no man's land between heartbreak and the illusion of reconnection. It's a place that steals your energy, that robs your clarity, that whispers maybe when what you really need is no. You deserve to know the truth. And you deserve to live without emotional noise clouding your decisions, because healing requires space. Space she's not letting you have. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse her curiosity for commitment, her guilt for affection, her impulse for intimacy, but you know better, deep down you do, so let's keep going. Let's talk about the behaviors, the patterns, the silent games that get played when someone wants your attention but not your love. Because clarity is your birthright, and confusion, that's optional. When someone walks away from you and yet keeps showing up in small, almost imperceptible ways, it's easy to think there's a hidden message behind every move. And maybe there is, but that message isn't always what you hope. Because you see, attention can be both comforting and manipulative, and when it comes from someone who's already left you, it often carries more confusion than clarity. She likes your photo, and suddenly your chest tightens. She replies to your story with a laughing emoji, and somehow you don't feel alone anymore. But the silence that follows, the days, maybe weeks of nothing after that one digital wink, that silence is louder than the attention. It's the kind that sits in your chest and makes you question everything. It's not your job to decode mixed signals. But it is your responsibility to understand why you're still responding to them. What part of you still hopes that one comment means she's changing her mind? What part of you is still starving for her validation, even after she withheld her commitment? These are the parts that matter. Because healing is not about waiting for her to stop playing games. It's about recognizing why you're still willing to play. Some women, not all, but some have learned how to keep a man emotionally tethered while being physically gone. It's not always conscious. Sometimes it's survival. They want to feel desired, remembered, needed, but they don't want the responsibility of being consistent. So they create a loop, a push and pull, a just enough connection that lets them feel close without getting too close. She may miss the idea of you, but not the reality. The way you made her feel safe, wanted, worshipped, that's hard to let go of. Especially if her new world doesn't offer that anymore. So she checks in, she leaves a comment, she sends a song. She plays the old chess moves that once made you melt. But if you look closer, it's not about love, it's about memory. She's reliving a feeling, and you're left wondering whether it still means something. But here's where your power begins, when you stop trying to read between the lines and start reading the lines themselves. If she's not calling, if she's not showing up with presence, with intention, with remorse, then you already have your answer. Everything else is noise, and no matter how loud it gets, it doesn't speak of love. It speaks of longing, of loneliness, of fear. And those aren't reasons to stay emotionally involved. Sometimes you're not the person she wants, you're the place she misses. And sometimes being missed is not a compliment, it's a warning. Because when a woman leaves and still demands your gaze, she's asking you to remain emotionally available for someone who is emotionally absent. That is a slow form of self-abandonment. It chips away at your clarity, your confidence, your self-worth. You begin to perform for her attention again like you once did for her affection, and I know it doesn't feel like a performance. It feels like hope, like connection, like maybe this time will be different. But let me remind you, if her attention feels like a breadcrumb, it's because it is. And you are not a starving man anymore. You are not waiting at the table of someone who left you hungry. It takes courage to close the door that someone else left half open, especially when that door is still whispering promises in the dark. But your healing depends on it. This is not about punishing her. It's not about revenge. It's about reclaiming your emotional dignity. The part of you that no longer chases ghosts or confuses flickers for fire, she wants your attention, not your wholeness. Not your partnership, not your presence. She wants the comfort of knowing she's still in your orbit without offering you gravity. And that's not love, that's ego, that's nostalgia, that's fear of being forgotten. You are not here to be someone's fallback plan. You are not here to be the man she checks on when her current options fall short. You are not here to perform emotional CPR on a connection that she chose to end. And yet, you're still watching her story too, aren't you? Still checking if she noticed you. Still wondering what would happen if you messaged back. That's okay, that's human, but that's also your invitation, not to re-engage, not to respond, but to ask yourself, what do I still need from her that I haven't yet given to myself? Because when you no longer need her attention to feel seen, her games become irrelevant. Let's go even deeper. Let's talk about what's really happening beneath the surface, not just in her, but in you, because this isn't just about a woman who can't let go. It's about a man who's still holding on to what she used to be. Sometimes what you're really holding on to isn't her. It's the version of yourself that you were when she loved you. The way she looked at you, the way she once needed you, the way your presence seemed to matter in her world. That feeling of being essential, of being chosen, it lingers longer than the relationship itself. And when she suddenly starts leaving traces of herself again, like a late night message, a comment full of nostalgia, it awakens that memory in you. But let me ask you something that might sting. Are you really missing her, or are you missing the man you got to be when you were with her? That version of you that felt desired, that felt capable, that felt like someone worth returning to. It's not just her attention that tempts you, it's the possibility of feeling significant again, and when life has been quiet, lonely, or uncertain, even crumbs of attention can feel like a feast. But that's where the danger lies, because you start making emotional decisions from a place of scarcity. You begin to chase moments that recreate a feeling, not moments that create a future. You become addicted to the validation of someone who no longer offers consistency, and that, my friend, is the most dangerous kind of intimacy. It's a performance of closeness without the presence of commitment. This is how people stay emotionally entangled for years, long after the relationship ends. It's not because they're in love. It's because they never properly mourned the version of themselves that relationship reflected back to them. And when she comes back, just a little, just enough to remind you she remembers, it triggers that ache again. But here's what's important to understand. When someone leaves and still wants your attention, what they often crave is control, not connection. You might not see it at first because it's wrapped in charm, wrapped in history, wrapped in those soft, ambiguous gestures that used to mean something. But it's not about love anymore. It's about maintaining a thread, a small, fragile thread of access. Access to your heart, your thoughts, your energy, your identity. And if you keep that thread alive, even just a little, you are saying silently that she still gets to enter your emotional home whenever she feels lonely. even if she no longer contributes to the rent. That's the cost of emotional availability without boundaries. Because you're not just healing from heartbreak, you're managing an open loop, a relationship that wasn't clearly closed, and attention that never becomes presence. That loop steals your clarity. You start asking, "What does this mean?" instead of asking, "What do I need?" And it's in that question, the one about your needs, that everything starts to shift. You don't need her attention to validate your worth. You don't need her gaze to remember your value. And you definitely don't need her confusion to anchor your emotions. But to get to that truth, you have to be honest about your own emotional habits. Are you checking her stories because you're still curious, or because you're hoping she'll notice you watched? Are you holding back from blocking her because you're being mature, or because part of you still wants to leave the door open, just in case? Are you responding to her occasional texts out of kindness, or because a small piece of you still hopes it will lead somewhere it never actually will? These questions aren't easy, but they are necessary, because healing requires boundaries, and boundaries require clarity. You are not healing just to be available when she gets bored. You are healing to become unavailable to the patterns that once broke you. Let that sink in. You are not healing to be someone's emotional backup plan. You are healing to become whole. To become a man who no longer seeks clarity from the person who gave him confusion. A man who gives his heart to those who know how to hold it, not those who drop it and then come back to ask how it's doing. And yes, I know she might say she cares, she might say she misses you, she might even cry, but care without change is just sentiment. And love without responsibility is just noise. So what do you really want? Because if you want peace, attention isn't enough. If you want love, nostalgia isn't enough. If you want depth, breadcrumbs are not enough. And when you realize that, you stop responding. Not out of bitterness, not out of pride, but out of self-respect. Let's go even further now. Let's talk about how you take your power back, not by playing her game, but by exiting the arena completely. Because real power isn't making her chase you, it's realizing you no longer need her to. Taking your power back doesn't always look like a dramatic exit or a viral self-love speech. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like not answering a text you would have once waited days for. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to stop watching her stories, not because you don't care, but because you finally do. You see, what most people misunderstand is that healing doesn't always come with clarity from the other person. Sometimes the closure you're waiting for never arrives with words. It arrives the moment you stop needing them. And when she feels that shift in you, that you're no longer orbiting around her gravitational pull, she might come closer again. Not with commitment, but with confusion, because people can feel when they're losing their place in your mind, even if they were the ones who walked out of your heart. She might reach out more, she might get bolder. She might even say things she's never said before, like how she's been thinking of you, how she wonders if she made a mistake, how nobody gets her the way you did. And here's where it gets tricky. It feels real, because the words might be sincere in the moment. But sincerity and stability are not the same thing. You've seen this movie before, the emotional re-entry, the flood of feelings, the late-night conversations that seem like maybe, just maybe, this time she means it. And then, just as quickly as she appeared, she disappears again, not because she wanted to hurt you, but because she came back for comfort, not change. And if you're not grounded in yourself by then, it's easy to fall back into the fantasy. Because the memory of love is intoxicating, but here's the truth, someone who truly wants you doesn't keep testing your heart like a toy. They don't reach for you only when they feel insecure. They don't ask for your attention without offering their own. Real connection comes with presence, with honesty, with repair, not with pop-ins, not with emotional flares. Not with half-hearted gestures in the name of just checking in, You don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't need to stay open just to be polite. You are allowed to walk away from someone who keeps emotionally trespassing without the intention to stay. This is about protecting your peace, not punishing her. You are not heartless for not responding. You are not cruel for removing access. You are not cold for choosing clarity over chaos. You are a man who has decided that his attention is sacred. And not everyone who wants it is worthy of it. She had the chance to love you with both hands. She let go. And now she wants to keep one finger on your shoulder while walking away. That is not intimacy. That is not partnership. That is not love. That is control disguised as connection. And it's okay to grieve. It's okay to miss her. To remember the best parts, to wish things had been different, but don't mistake that nostalgia for a sign that you should return to a space that no longer respects you. Let your silence be the full stop to a sentence she keeps trying to rewrite without changing the meaning. You don't have to be angry, you don't have to be loud, you don't have to explain, you just have to choose you. Because when you finally stop giving your attention to the one who only shows up when it's convenient for them, something magical happens. You create space, and in that space someone new can walk in. Someone who doesn't just want your energy, but respects it. Someone who meets you where you are, not where they left you. Someone who doesn't ghost and reappear like a shadow, but stands beside you in the light. But none of that can happen while you're still emotionally available to someone who only wants part of you. Let that part go, the part that waits, the part that wonders, the part that keeps hoping her attention will become love again. That chapter is closed, and now you get to write a new one where you are no longer defined by who wants you, but by what you deserve. Let's end this together, with clarity, with softness, with truth. You were never too much. You were simply too present for someone who didn't know what to do with that kind of availability. Now it's your turn to live, to heal, to rise. Your peace is louder than her attention. Let that be your answer. One of the most subtle yet powerful shifts you can make in your healing is this, moving from asking, why is she doing this, to asking, why am I still available for it? Because when you keep your eyes on her behavior, what she's posting, when she's watching, how often she's reaching out, you're giving your power away. You're making her actions the compass of your emotional world, and that's exhausting. It turns your life into a waiting room, one where you're always hoping she'll finally show up for the appointment she keeps canceling. But you are not a second chance waiting to be chosen again. You are a man worthy of clarity, peace, and partnership, not confusion masked as connection. The thing is, many of us don't realize how emotionally available we still are, even when we say we've moved on. It shows up in the little things, the way your heart races when you see her name on your screen, the way you carefully post something half hoping she'll see it, the way a memory hijacks your focus on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. It's not about fault, it's about honesty. Because no matter how long it's been, a part of you may still be tethered to the hope that she'll wake up one day, realize what she lost, and come back with an open heart. But here's something you need to hear. Her regret is not your responsibility. Even if she does come back with tears in her eyes and apologies on her lips, that still doesn't guarantee she has the capacity to love you the way you need. Attention is easy. Presence is sacred. Anyone can reach out, few can stay, and staying, truly staying, means being accountable for the pain they caused. It means rebuilding trust with consistent effort. It means earning your attention again, not just slipping back in with a late night, I miss you. You don't owe her your space just because she misses the version of herself she was when she was with you. Sometimes people don't come back because they love you. They come back because they love how they felt with you. And if they haven't grown, then what they're seeking isn't healing, it's relief, and your heart is not a rehab center for someone else's emotional confusion. You are allowed to love someone and still not let them back in. You are allowed to forgive someone and still block their access to you. You are allowed to outgrow someone even if a piece of you still aches when you think of them. Healing doesn't always mean you don't feel anything anymore. It means your feelings no longer make decisions for you. So the next time she surfaces, through a message, a mention, a memory, take a breath. And instead of asking, "What does this mean?" ask, "What does this cost me?" Because every time you re-engage without boundaries, you delay your peace. And you deserve peace, the kind that isn't interrupted by old ghosts, the kind that doesn't make you question your worth, the kind that feels like freedom, not longing. This is what it means to reclaim your attention, to take back the energy you've been giving away so freely, not just to her, but to the version of yourself that believed love had to come through suffering. You are not here to be emotionally haunted by someone who walked away. You are here to become the man who finally walks toward himself. That man is not bitter. He is not guarded. He is not angry. He is clear. He knows the difference between someone who loves him and someone who just misses the feeling of being loved. And he no longer negotiates his peace just to keep someone entertained. This is your moment to close the loop, to stop responding to half-efforts, to release the fantasy that her attention might one day turn back into affection. It won't, because the man you are becoming, he doesn't settle for signals. He builds with someone who speaks in presence. In action, in truth, let her go, not out of pride, but because you finally remembered who you are without her gaze. And that man, he's not looking back anymore. There's something sacred that happens when you finally stop asking, "Why did she do this to me?" and start asking, "What did this teach me about myself?" Because in the end, this was never just about her attention. This was about your reflection. She walked away, but a shadow lingered in the quiet corners of your mind, in the photos you couldn't delete, the music you couldn't stop playing, the words she once whispered that still echo when the world is still, and in that echo you began to lose the sound of your own voice, but not anymore. Now you remember that your worth is not found in her gaze, her memory, or her regret. Your worth lives in the way you show up for yourself when no one is watching, the way you put your phone down instead of checking if she's seen your story, the way you walk past a memory without collapsing into it, the way you choose peace even when chaos calls in a voice that once made you feel safe. This is not just healing, this is return to the man you were before the confusion, before the ambiguity, before you became addicted to the hope that maybe her attention meant she'd come back with love. You see, some people never meant to stay. They came to awaken a truth in you, a part of you that you were never meant to abandon. She may have left, but what she left behind, that ache, that hunger, that longing, was the mirror, the one you were always meant to look into. And what you see now is not someone who was rejected. What you see is someone who finally remembered, "I do not chase love. I attract truth. I honor presence. I protect my peace. Let her watch. Let her wonder. Let her miss the version of herself that only existed beside you." You have no obligation to keep performing for a past that refused to commit to your future. This is your new season, where you no longer measure your value by who stayed, who watched, or who came back too late. You are not here to be someone's echo. You are here to be a voice, and that voice says, "I release you, with grace, with love, with finality." No more waiting, no more wondering, no more open doors that lead nowhere. You are not hard to love. You are just no longer available for half-hearted love, so close that chapter, turn the page, and write the rest of your story from a place of wholeness, not hope that someone else will complete you. Because you were never incomplete, you were just learning how to choose yourself, and now you have. So if this video found you in a moment of confusion, of silence, of heartbreak, know this: your clarity begins where their chaos ends. Your peace begins where your past stops knocking, and your love story, the real one, begins the moment you stop waiting to be seen and choose instead to see yourself. If this spoke to your heart, let me know in the comments. What are you choosing now? Not what you're hoping she'll do, but what you're ready to give to yourself. And if you're ready for more emotional clarity, more raw truth, more guidance like this, subscribe to the Intimacy Lab. Because healing doesn't mean being alone. It means walking home to yourself with love, courage, and finally peace. I'm proud of you. You're not looking back anymore, and that is a beautiful beginning.